So history about Puerto Rico is that it's a large Caribbean island. It's about 3,500 square miles in the West Indies. It's the West Indies. Puerto Rico is right there. It's the easternmost island there. It's very mountainous, covering about 60% of the island. It has a variety of rainforests, deserts, beaches, caves, oceans, and rivers. It has a population of about 3.1 million people and a vibrant culture, a mix of Spanish, United States, and African Caribbean influences. So the history of the bumba is known as the dance of the slaves, usually performed on sugar plantations. It is originated in the practices of West Africans brought to the Caribbean island by European colonizers as slaves in the 17th century. Some fun facts is that it's the third largest island in the U.S. and the 82nd largest island in the world. It has several uninhabited islands and its own Galapagos island. Some native animals are found nowhere else in the world. The Puerto Rican parrot is an example. It lives only in a few hidden areas of the Caribbean National Forest. It's about a foot in length, primarily bright green with a red forehead and some blue.
Decided to do popular Puerto Rican food, one in particular, the empanadilla. So just going on to the next slide to tell you a little bit more about it. It is pictured here on your left. These half-moon shaped turnovers are a great party finger food and a sure crowd pleaser. Actually, before I researched it, I had no idea that it originated in Puerto Rico. I thought it was just something that we came up with here in the States, so that was really interesting to learn. It is filled with a savory mix of ground beef and potatoes. Whether fried or baked, the filling is seasoned with two Puerto Rican staples, sofrito and ayote. Sofrito, brown onions, garlic, and peppers, is seasoned with olive oil and coriander. Ayote is a nutty, sweet, and earthly spice that comes in both powder and oil form. Popular filling options on the island are lobster, conch, and shrimp, but the possibilities and seasonings for this Puerto Rican dish are endless. This is the food that you will find on every corner and in every shop in Puerto Rico. When researching, I found that it was among the most popular dishes that Puerto Rico offers. Empanadillas have a long history, and they are made by many cultures and called many different names, including empanada, how we know it in the States, or pastillo. These are, once again, really popular dishes found in Puerto Rico and are a staple to the Puerto Rican culture. Thank you.
So, Mr. Santiago, tell me about what it was like to live in Puerto Rico.
Living in Puerto Rico was an experience that it's hard to describe in words. I remember when I was young, the culture, the traditions, the music, the colors, everything was just brand new to me. And I was able to learn more about my own culture, my background. You can hear in the music, a little bit of, the roots from Africa, a little bit of the roots from Spain, and of course some of the Taino, which were the indigenous Indians that lived there originally. But to sum it all, it was a paradise. Living in Puerto Rico was fun.
Talking about the cultural events of Puerto Rico, there tends to actually be at least one island-wide party or celebration of some kind every single weekend. And there are many that we can look at, whether we're talking about Fiestas de la Calle San Sebastian, which is the third weekend of January, Noche de San Juan, which is June 23rd, or Carnaval Ponceño, which is the last week of February. Each one of these has a very long-standing tradition. Many of them are tied directly to Catholicism in some way. There are honestly so many, it's hard to get into all of them. One of the most important, though, is Noche Buena, which is on Christmas Eve. They refer to it as Noche Buena. People gather with their families and eat lechon and arroz con gandules, drink coquito, and sing flutes. It's just a island-wide celebration of Christmas Eve. Big tourist events as well as for the native people.
So in 1917, the U.S. made an act that made all Puerto Rican citizens officially U.S. citizens, and this sort of paved the way for the Latin artists that came from Puerto Rico to enter into the mainstream music world. And this was led by Hector Lavoe, Tito Rodriguez, as well as a group of artists called the Ricans, which is sort of like New York and Puerto Rican combined. And they brought Latin jazz and salsa into the mainstream audiences that we listen to today. It really paved the path for artists that we listen to today, the most famous being Bad Bunny and Daddy Yankee, who both sing Latin pop and are all over the place, all over the world. Famous songs being Despacito, Gasolina. They perform melodies, and it's big into the pop culture and Latin pop culture specifically.
Thank you for watching our video on Puerto Rico. We had Jessica Bradley on the introduction, Abby Thompson on popular food dishes, Sierra Santiago on the